Very well. This is not the final try. It's actually the second iteration of this mechanism. Okay, well, so I had to take it apart again, go and correct the mistakes and print it one more time. Well, I got the belt and it seems to be the right size. So I got plenty of adjustment space here, so it looks pretty cool. I think it's gonna work. I have to line it up with the front, but I think it looks pretty good there. Oh well, I got it running with the battery, and I just have the weight of the motor on the belt. Well, this almost worked. It is my second attempt to do this gearing unsuccessfully. There's a problem of precision, and the way I mounted the shafts for the gears were not the best. It's got a lot of slack. So going back to the drawing board. Well, there's a problem with this design. The problem is sloppiness. And if something, is not fixed proper, it's gonna skip, it's gonna have a lot of slack, and it's going to not work. But I did 3D print this part, improving the design. But seems like the first one was better than this one. Anyway, there's also some slack on this bushing here for the speed adjustment casting. There's a chance that I might not need the gearing. After all, if I just install a 10-turn potentiometer directly to the shaft, then I won't have that problem. I'll have another problem. And the problem is that this SCR controller comes originally with a 500K or 500,000 ohms, 500K ohms, and you had to crank it almost to half of the trouble the potentiometer so the motor starts spinning. So you had to order a 150K potentiometer like this one, and this will be almost the full range to adjust the speed on the motor. So for a 10-turn potentiometer, they don't have available the 150K. The most that I can get for around $9 is a 100K. And if I had a 100K, I'm gonna lose some range of speed because it goes from 100K to 0 to be able to spin that motor all the way, but it quite doesn't go all the way to 150, or it only goes to 100K. That means that the motor will start spinning as soon as I turn it on. So I lose the low end RPMs. That would simplify the mounting of this crank with a 10-turn potentiometer, because now I can turn it 10 times with the crank and it gives me the speed adjustment that I want. Now I can add another potentiometer in series to that one, 20K or 50K potentiometer, and then I can do some more adjustment with that one, but then I will have to put the potentiometer next to it or on the side the casting here, and that'll be drilling holes in the casting and all that. So I don't know, I order a 10-turn potentiometer. It'll come tomorrow, and instead of reworking this design and trying to make it so the gears won't skip and they'll be more precise, maybe I can wait till tomorrow to wait for that 10-turn potentiometer and try it that way. Maybe that'll be a better solution than with all this gearing and troublesome meshing on the teeth of all these little precise gears. Okay, what I'm doing here, I connected the ohm meter to show the range of resistance, and those two potentiometers that are connected in series. It goes from the very high 150K to 0, and moving one and another, I can have a combination of resistance from 50K to 150K. That is basically what I'm doing there, just testing it. And here for the first time I just tried it on the motor, and it seems like it works real good. So just checking all the ratio speeds. If I just install the dial, which is the 10 turn potentiometer, and if I bring it all the way to the high resistance of 100K, then the motor will start spinning at a certain speed. That's the reason I added the 50K, so the motor will actually go to a stop, and you can just fine tune the speed with the big dial, and then move the small potentiometer to a starting speed that you desire. Finally, I got the belt and the motor properly mounted on the case, and I'm just testing the speeds here with the motor already connected, and it seems like it works real good. I can turn on the switch and the motor won't start until you start cranking the dial, but you can set up the starting speed with the small potentiometer. That's why you need two of them. If they would have sell a potentiometer with 150K, then you wouldn't need that little one. Now I went ahead and did a test using the table saw, and I didn't put the guard on, so you could see actually the cut. I'm being very careful with the grip handle there, not to have an accident, but this machine is actually pretty safe. But you should use the guard anytime you're using the saw, but in this case I'm just showing it to you. So I also wanted to do some testing with the drill press, and one of the things with the Shopsmith that you convert it, it's a conversion machine from horizontal to vertical, and it takes a little while to actually do the conversion, but it's nothing that you couldn't handle. So I went ahead and just installed the drill chuck, and do some switches here and there. And once you get the practice of your machine, then you can get at this pretty fast. I'm very rusty, so I don't actually do this very often, but it's not that bad. The only bad thing is that I don't know exactly how many RPMs I'm running the spindle, so I'm just using my ear to calculate the speed there. I started with a fairly high speed, but not too much, and then I went to a lower speed, and finally I went to a very slow speed, and I was hoping that the motor wouldn't bog down, and it didn't. It cut the piece like butter, no problem. So what is the advantage? You can turn the dial all the way to the speed that you want with the machine stopped, and then you can turn it on. Finally, I finished with the conversion on this machine. But seems like the test that I've been doing, it makes the cuts with the circular saw, and it does drill fine and slow and fast speeds. Another thing that I didn't take in count is when I took the intermediate shaft, then there is no way. There's a little shaft here that goes in the middle that powers the jointer and the spray painter, I think. This is not used because I just bypass it. I put a longer belt from the front to the back, so it loses this functionality. However, it is possible to leave this in and use an extra pulley and an extra read belt and use this intermediate shaft along with the DC motor that it's got. So if you try to do something like this, I mean, this is the disclaimer. Has any power tool, make sure and read, understand, and follow the instructions that come with your machine. Know what you're doing. So I'm not encouraging anybody to do it, but it did work, and I like it. I mean, it cuts the wood and it drills fine, and I don't see why not. I can use it as a lathe or the drum sander or the disc sander. It's the same thing. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna cut this 2x6 and bend. So I'm gonna start at 0, and then I'm gonna start cranking it up. Actually, it's not 0, but that's almost 0. That's 0. I don't know, maybe there. That's too slow. As you can see, I was able to cut this piece of 2x6. This is just cedar, so it's not very hard. Nevertheless, it was able to cut it at a slow speed. It kind of bogged down a little when it was very slow, but then when you crank it up, to proper speed, then there's no problem to cut it. So my next video is going to be about installing an RPM counter on this machine. So I went ahead and ordered this morning one from Amazon, and I'll have it tomorrow, and then I'll start working on it and see, with the RPM counter, it'll be easier to set up any speed for any of the accessories. So if you want to follow what I'm doing here, well, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out, and make sure and on the notifications you get or select the bell to all the notifications, so YouTube will tell you when I upload the next video. Anyway, so this is going to be all for this one, and thank you very much for watching. I will see you on that one. Bye bye.